So we're moving from the Piscean Age to the Aquarian Age. It means that those who've been on thrones, those who've been the one that knows, that whole thing changes now. Now we're moving to a structure of reality where everyone is on a throne, where everyone is the one that knows or has a piece of the greater puzzle. So we're going to move over these coming years from listening to the one, the Piscean Age philosophy of, or energetic structure of listening to the one that knows, going to sit with the guru, having the religious master that is our teacher and our leader. We move to being really good at listening to each other, attuning to each other, being grown by each other. We move from thinking that one being has it all inside them, and we grow up into all beings are an expression of emergent consciousness, and emergent consciousness, life itself, is revealing itself through all beings. And the quality of life on earth and the quality of your family and your friendship groups and your communities, that is going to be determined by how good we all become at taking each other in, being grown by what reveals itself through each other, and knowing that the being beside you, no matter what stage of their developmental journey they're at, they have within them pieces that are fundamentally needed, not just on earth, but by you. The ones that have arrived, whether you call them friends or clients, they're actually profound influences that you need on your own opening, awakening, remembering journey as parts of you come back online. It's not a top-down model anymore, guys. That's not how it works. That's not what the Aquarian Age is. We're coming to a time of radical equality. That doesn't mean sameness. Radical equality doesn't mean sameness. And we're navigating this ever since the early 1900s, late 1800s, when we've been, moving out of like slavery societies. We've been trying to work out how to do life on Earth without a top-down model. A lot of the problems that we're facing right now are in this time where the top-down model is still lingering, and we're trying to bring through new systems, but it's not quite, none of them are quite embodied or integrated really. It's all a little bit shaky and shitty. So what happens is we begin to profoundly be grown by each other. It's what happens as we begin to grow up out of systems where the power is externalized, where the change has to happen over there, and instead the finger comes back and it points here, and the change has to happen here, and the change has to happen here. The change has to happen in our beings. The change has to happen in our lounge rooms, in our relationships, in our friendship circles, in our communities. We're coming to a time where we stop pointing at the political leaders and saying, you need to change, you need to fix this. And we start saying, I need to change. I need to fix this, or maybe not fix this, but bring more love to this. This gets to grow, and I get to be a part of that. So this time of outsourcing power and pointing all the way over there, it's gone. It's totally gone. It's probably going to die out slowly over the next 50 years, but in the great cycles of life on Earth, it's done. Now we take responsibility for our lives, our circles, our relationships, our communities. And as we reclaim that power and we reclaim that responsibility, we are empowered as creators within our relationships, within our friendship circles, within our communities. And a relationship moves from being just a relationship to being something that is a sacred unfolding allyship, something beautiful and more than what we just get taught in the mainstream world. That relationship actually becomes a fundamental piece of the developmental journey of both beings, and as a unit, that relationship has great gifts for the world, although sometimes it takes a long time for that relationship to find its way to offering those gifts to the world in an integrated way. Same with our friendships. You think our friends are just there to like shoot the shit with? No, our friends are some of our greatest allies, and oftentimes we're in immature phases of the developmental journey of our friendship group. Your friendship group is on a developmental journey. Think about that. There is a developmental journey that you're on, different stages of maturity that your friendship group will be moving through over a lifetime. How are you going as a group on that evolutionary journey? Have you found your way to meaningful beingness, to meaningful creationship? Have you found your way to living the potentiality that exists within your friendship group? What's happening in your lounge rooms? What's happening with your communities? How are you going, finding your way to the quality that's here to be lived? We all know it. We all feel it. It's that what I know in my heart is possible. That's the thing. That's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's kind of an ongoing piece, really, but we can feel the directionality in our hearts. We can feel that in our hearts. It's just going to present itself differently. It's going to present itself with therapists realizing that the clients they are serving are as much for them and their remembering and awakening as their service to the client is as a therapist. It's always two-way. It's always relational. The rememberings and the initiations and the remembering what it is to be human is here in all directions. Now, how we're listening to each other right now isn't great. I relate to myself as almost like one of the emerging wave of leaders who are quite frontier on earth in these times. There's industry leaders who are more established than me. Their leadership and their voice is more established than me, but they're not touching the same quality of frontier places that me and we could say my peers are touching. Each generation touches the next edge, and so me and my peers, we're actually touching radical edges on Earth right now. It's not necessarily ready. The society isn't necessarily ready for that. Society will always embrace what it's ready for. That's why the generation before becomes the industry leaders or the popular ones. They're offering something that the society's consciousness can meet. And what we're beginning to touch, my peers and I, is what our consciousness isn't yet able to meet. We're playing in those realms, and it's a generation ahead or 2 generations ahead of what we're doing, at least some of us. So that presents a challenge. It means that like when you're speaking 2 generations ahead, or you're speaking to stuff that is actually frontier emergent consciousness, it means that it's not necessarily going to be easy to understand or understandable at all a lot of the time. And that's just not me. That's in a lot of different directions right now. There are things around that I don't understand because it's ahead of my developmental consciousness journey. There are sacred pieces of our humanity that are already here with us, being held point for by different beings, and I haven't grown to be fully and wholly and profoundly touched by those things. So it's not just me and I'm great. It's a lot of beings are touching really radical, beautiful, and important, essential things on Earth right now, but we're not great yet at hearing each other, feeling each other, attuning to each other outside of like industry models where we go do a course with someone or we go do an immersion or a retreat with someone. And that's great as well. That's a part of this moment on Earth. But we haven't got to the place yet where we are being profoundly initiated by each other into the things that we are not yet. There's little sprinkles of it out there, but it's pretty weak, really. It's like 1%, really, just a 1%. And there's a really long developmental journey for all of us to grow into being profoundly moved and changed and grown by each other. And I'm here for it. It just means that it begins with us stopping pointing out there, starting pointing in here, and starting to work with our direct surroundings and those people that are already around us. finding our way to deeper qualities of relationship and listening. That's the starting point. And over the years and decades and generations ahead, we'll get really good at the rest.